Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Svetaswatara Upanishad, Adhyaya 3, Mantra 4. Yo Devanam Prabhavashchodbhavascha Vishwadhipo Rudra Maharshihi Hiranyagarbham Janayamasa Purvam Sano Buddhya Shubhaya Sanyunaktu. These are prayer verses. This verse is a prayer. As we discussed earlier in the previous session, which happened more than 1 month back, this is a prayer for inner transformation. There can be 2 types of prayers. One is a prayer for external transformation. Let there be material prosperity. A prayer for material prosperity. Let me get a better job. Let me get a visa. It is a prayer for an external change. We are not happy with the present condition of the world insofar as it is related to us. Therefore, we want some change. Let it be better. This is a common prayer. Most often people pray for some changes outside. Nothing wrong in it. It is perfectly all right to pray for some improvement in the world. But then there is a better prayer, a more advanced prayer. It is a prayer for inner transformation. I am not asking for a change outside. Instead, I am asking for a change within me. Shubhaya buddhya sanyunaktu. You are asking for Shubha buddhi. Shubha, auspicious. Auspicious buddhi. Proper buddhi. Proper wisdom. Proper intelligence. We can just ask for buddhi. Give me buddhi. This is a prayer. Give me buddhi. Many people ask. But here there is an adjective, not just buddhi. Shubha buddhi. I want proper buddhi. A visheshana, an adjective is added to buddhi. Why an adjective is needed? Sambhava vyabhicharabhyam syadarthavad visheshanam. Any adjective is added when there is another possibility. An adjective is needed when some other possibility is there. If I say red cloth, that means there can be cloth other than red also. If all cloths are red, I don't have to say bring the red cloth. I have to say just bring cloth. You will only bring red cloth. But then there is a possibility of vyabhichara. Vyabhichara means it can be something else. Then I have to add an adjective. Bring the red cloth. Bring the ochre cloth. Because I don't wear any other cloth. So a visheshana is needed when the contrary is possible. Therefore here, Shubha buddhi, I want good buddhi, means there can be Ashubha buddhi also. Some people are very intelligent. They are very smart. But that does not mean it is Shubha buddhi. All their smartness may be employed for all wrong purposes. There is something called dark psychology. Without knowing, people can have the dark psychology. They are very smart, but they use their smartness to manipulate others, to control others, to take advantage of others. Even such people are very intelligent, very smart. And they think they are perfectly all right. But unfortunately, with their smartness, they are deceiving themselves. That is why I keep saying, you can never deceive others without deceiving yourself. You cannot cheat others without cheating yourself first. This is a psychological fact. Anyone who uses the manipulative tactics himself will have a false image of himself. There is a discussion about narcissism. A narcissist will have a false image of himself. So he has deceived himself first without his knowledge, and he thinks he is successfully deceiving others, successfully outsmarting others. In fact, it is a psychological complication and it needs to be addressed clinically. Therefore, even without our knowledge, we may have the dark side of personality. All such tendencies are included in Ashubha Buddhi. Sometimes we may not be aware of our own Ashubha Buddhi. Therefore, we have to work on our own Buddhi, our own mind. In fact, a major part of the spiritual pursuit involves working on our own Buddhi. Now, how to work on it? First of all, there has to be introspection and self-correction. We have to introspect ourselves. Am I doing something wrong? Am I manipulating somebody? Am I cheating somebody? Am I unfair to somebody? Am I becoming self-centered and self-obsessed? We have to keep asking such questions to ourselves. It is called introspection. And the Shastra helps us in introspection. If you keep reading Bhagavad Gita, it helps us in introspection. Because so many values are told repeatedly. Satyam, Amanitvam, Adamhitvam. We are reminded of these values when we keep studying the Shastra. And then it helps us in introspection. Am I true to these values? Or am I deviating from these values? So, introspection and then self-correction. If I am deviating somewhere, let me take corrective measures. If I am becoming self-centered, let me try to be more broad-minded. Let me try to reach out to others through love and service, through compassion and empathy. So it is the process of introspection and self-correction. This is one of the disciplines a sadhaka has to follow to get rid of his ashubha buddhi, to get rid of the evil tendencies in his mind and cultivate shubha buddhi, cultivate proper wisdom, cultivate proper attitude, proper mindset. But then it doesn't stop there, because all of us will have our own blind spots. You might have heard of the blind spots of a CCTV camera. What is blind spot? There are CCTV cameras here in this premise. But the CCTV camera may not capture some portions. Therefore, if something wrong happens in that portion, it is not recorded in the camera. It is called a blind spot. Likewise, we may have blind spot in our own mind. We may not be aware of our own shortcomings. We may not be aware of our own limitations. We may not be aware of our own mistakes sometimes. Then what is the way out? Of course, we may ask somebody like the Guru. The Guru may help us in understanding some of the shortcomings. But despite that, there may be some other shortcomings. Then what is the way out? Only Ishvara has to shower his grace. That is why we should pray to Ishvara. Leading a prayerful life is very important. Because ultimately it is Ishvara who lifts us up in the process of spiritual unfoldment. So these are the two disciplines that we should follow. First of all, introspection and self-correction. And it involves our own effort. It is an effort from our side. Predominantly an effort from our own side. That is why Krishna says in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, Uddharedatmanatmanam, uplift yourself by yourself. Try to improve yourself internally. And then in chapter 12, he makes another statement. Tesham aham samuddharta. Tesham aham samuddharta. I uplift my devotees. I uplift those who pray to me. This brings in the second discipline, praying to Bhagavan. despite our effort, we will have some shortcomings. That is where we need the grace of Ishvara. That is why leading a prayerful life plays an important role in self-improvement. Therefore, the Upanishad gives us a prayer. In fact, the Upanishad gives many prayers, like the Shanti mantra that we chant, Sahana Bhavatu. Even those mantras are prayers. Likewise, there are so many other prayers given. So this is one such prayer. And in this prayer, the Ishvara is described. Yo devanam prabhavascha udbhavascha. Yo devanam prabhavaha. He is the source of the devatas. The Shastra talks about many devatas. Their number can be any. There can be any number of devatas. We are not bothered about the number of devatas. In fact, the Shastra itself will have various versions. All versions are correct because all these devatas are nothing but various manifestations of the same Ishvara in various forms. In fact, there is a devata in everything. This is a unique concept which is rather difficult to understand for someone who is not familiar with the Vedic philosophy. If you look into chapter 6 of Chandogya Upanishad, there is the process of Srishti. In the process of Srishti, the three elements come. Tejaha, Apaha, Annam. Chandogya Upanishad mentions three elements. Tejaha, Apaha, Annam. Tejaha means light. Apaha means water. Annam means earth. We use the word annam for food, but there annam means earth because earth is food. Food comes from earth. So tejaha, apaha and annam, three things come from the Ishvara. Then the same Upanishad refers to tejaha as devata, seyam devataikshata. The tejaha which is produced from Ishvara, from Paramatma, is referred to as a devata. And then the discussion ensues. Why this tejaha is called devata? Tejaha is a material. Why it is called devata? The answer is, even though it is a matter from our point of view, the matter does not exist independent of the Chaitanya. Within that Tejaha, that Namarupa, there is a Chaitanya. There is the consciousness. And the consciousness in that given form, it is a Devata. This is the concept of Devata. That is why the Upanishad calls the Tejaha as a Devata. Apaha is a Devata. Because even though we understand it as a matter, essentially it is also consciousness. Therefore, as many forms are there, there are so many devatas. That is why when somebody makes fun of you, you have 33 crore devatas. What should you say? We can have even more devatas. Because every form is a devata for us. And all these devatas are the manifestation of the same Paramatma, who is Ekameva Advitiyam, one without a second. Now you tell me whether Hinduism is monotheism or polytheism. It is neither monotheism nor polytheism. Don't try to categorize Vedanta from the standpoint of the West. It is not going to work. What do they mean when they say polytheism? We don't mean that. And it is not monotheism, because monotheism means there is one God apart from the universe, independent of the universe, away from the universe, means away from this world. But as I keep telling once in a while in the sessions, Brahman is not one in terms of our general understanding. When we say one sun, one moon, our understanding of one is different. But when we say one Brahman, our understanding is different. There, one does not mean a number. I have explained this before. Brahman is Sankhya Atita. Brahman transcends number. It is not one like one sun, one moon. You cannot say one sun, one moon, and one Brahman. You cannot say that. Because it is Ekameva Adviti. Brahman is not an entity in addition to a sun and a moon. It is an entity that encompasses the sun, moon, stars, everything. Therefore, the Vedanta, the vision of Vedanta is quite unique. We cannot try to standardize, we cannot try to understand it from the Western yardsticks. Monotheism, polytheism, all these words don't make any relevance here. So there is Ekameva Advitiyam, Paramatma, and when the Nama Rupas, names and forms are projected by Maya, the same Paramatma appears as many. Ekoham Bahusya. Therefore, Yo Devanam Prabhavaha, he is the source of all the devatas. And Udbhavascha, he is Udbhavaha. Udbhavo Vibhuti Yogaha. Prabhava and Udbhava. Literally, they don't have much difference. But since here the Upanishad uses both the words together, the commentators make a distinction between them. So Prabhava means source, source of origin. And Udbhava means the source of power. Who gives power to the Devatas? Who passes on his power to the Devatas? It is the Paramatma. Vishwadhipo Rudro Maharshiji. Vishwadhipaha. Adhipaha. Adhi means he is above the universe. He transcends the universe. When we say transcends, we have to understand this word properly. Transcending does not mean he is somewhere in the seventh sky. It does not mean that. He is immanent and transcendent at the same time. Paramatma is immanent. He is everywhere. All pervasive. So Vishwam, he pervades everything, and in the meantime he transcends everything. This is mentioned beautifully in Purusha Sukta. Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishthad Dashangulam. He pervades the whole universe. In the meantime, he transcends everything. Immanent and transcendent at the same time. How can you understand? Let's understand with the help of a movie screen. The movie screen is present in every scene of the movie. It pervades every scene of the movie. Meanwhile, it transcends every scene. It transcends every picture. When the fire burns in the movie, the screen is not burnt. When water flows in the movie screen is not drenched. Therefore, immanent and transcendent at the same time. Paramatma is present everywhere, meanwhile not affected by anything. That is why Adhi, he stands above the Vishwa. He stands above everything, and standing above everything, he is sustaining everything. By supporting the universe with his existence and consciousness, with the satta and spurti, he is sustaining. Therefore, Vishwadhipaha, he is the sustainer of the whole universe. Rudraha, Svetaswatara Upanishad describes the Paramatma as Rudraha. In fact, there is a way of classifying the Upanishad in terms of Shaiva Upanishad or Vaishnava Upanishad or Shakta Upanishad. If you classify, in that classification, Svetaswatara Upanishad is classified as a Shaiva Upanishad. Because, why it is Shaiva Upanishad? Not that the content is different. The contents are same in all the Upanishads. Content means the basic vision is same in all the Upanishads. But in this Upanishad, the Ishvara is depicted as Shiva. That is why it is called Shaivopanishad. Whereas in some other Upanishad, some other books, the same Ishvara may be depicted as Vishnu. This difference is not very visible in the Upanishads, at the level of Upanishads, but it becomes more visible at the level of Puranas. We have Shaiva Purana, Vaishnava Purana, Shakta Purana. The same Ishvara is depicted in various forms. When it is depicted in Shiva form, it is called Shaiva Purana. When it is presented as Vishnu, it is called Vaishnava Purana. It doesn't mean there are different Paramatmas, the same Paramatma. So, Rudraha. Rudraha means Rudam Dravayatiti Rudraha. One who drives away the sorrow is called Rudra. Rudam Dravayati. He drives away the sorrow when you pray to him. Therefore, he is called Rudraha. Maharshihi. He is a Maharshi. Maharshi means a Sarvajna. Here Maharshi does not mean he has a beard and he sits in meditation. Not that Maharshi. Sarvajnaha ityartha. He is all knowledge. Paramatma comprises of all knowledge. Therefore, Sarvajna. Hiranyagarbham janayamasa purvam. He is the cause of Hiranyagarbha also. Hiranyagarbha is the greatest jiva. Among the jivas, the greatest position is that of Hiranyagarbha. In this world, what is the greatest position possible? In this country, India, Bharat, what is the highest position possible? Not Pradhana Mantri, President. President is the first person of India. Rashtrapati. So, highest position is President. After becoming President, you cannot become anything more. It is the culmination in the constitutional system. Likewise, in the scheme of the universe, there are so many higher positions. The positions that are higher than human beings, like a Devata's position, various Devatas, then the king of the Devatas, Indra. Even higher position is that of Hiranyagarbha. It is the highest possible position in the scheme of Srishti. At the maximum, you can become Hiranyagarbha. As a jiva, as an individual. That is why many people try to become Hiranyagarbha. In the Vedic culture, they do some kind of karma and upasana and they try to become Hiranyagarbha. And even now, with some kind of techniques, people try to get access to Hiranyagarbha. There are so many siddhis. Animadi Ashta Siddhi. How do you get these siddhis? When you are able to connect with the Hiranyagarbha, you can get all the siddhis. Because Hiranyagarbha is a repository of all the siddhis, all the miraculous powers. That is why if you are able to understand this, we should know the nature of Hiranyagarbha. What is Hiranyagarbha? Hiranyagarbha is a samashti. Samashti abhimani atma is Hiranyagarbha. See, our identification is confined to one vyashti, one individual. Whereas Hiranyagarbha has access to the samashti. We think our mind is a closed compartment, an airtight closed compartment. That is how we understand. But the Shastra says it is not so. No mind is a closed compartment. All our minds, all our individual minds, individual mind is called Vyashti Mana, Vyashti. All these Vyashtis are part of a whole Samashti, one cosmic mind, Samashti Antahkarana. And the Jiva who presides over this Samashti Antahkarana is called Hiranyagarbha. Therefore, through certain types of sadhanas, we can tune our mind to the Hiranyagarbha. We can get access to the Hiranyagarbha. When we get access to the Hiranyagarbha, we can get various siddhis. You can even have access to others' mind, because it is like internet. All minds, you have access to any mind. That is why some people are able to know what is happening in others' mind. That is why some people are able to say that. We think it is a miracle, but it is not a miracle. They are able to tune themselves to Hiranyagarbha. They are able to get the access to Hiranyagarbha through some sadhana. But unfortunately, even the Hiranyagarbha is within samsara. Even if you become Hiranyagarbha, or even if you get access to Hiranyagarbha, you are not going to get fulfillment. Because even Hiranyagarbha is a jiva. It is also temporary. Then, if I want absolute fulfillment, if I want absolute happiness, what should I look for? I should look for something that transcends even Hiranyagarbha. And the Shastra says it is Paramatma, even greater than Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbham janayamasa purvam. He created Hiranyagarbha in the beginning of Srishti. That means he is the cause of Hiranyagarbha as well. Means he transcends even Hiranyagarbha. Sano buddhya shubhaya sanyunaktu. May he bless us with the shubha buddhi, with auspicious intellect, with auspicious wisdom, with the wisdom that leads us towards Paramatma, a wisdom that leads us towards moksha. Next mantra. Ya te Rudra Shiva, Tanuraghora, Apapakashini, Tayanastanuva, Shantamaya, Girishanta, Abhichakashihi. Sounds familiar to some people. Yeah. So this mantra is there in Taittiriya Samhita. Rudra Prashna is a portion of Taittiriya Samhita. So this is again another prayer addressed to Rudra. Don't chant it this way when you chant Rudra. So I have split it. Tanura Ghora Apapakashini. I just wanted to show that is how it is split. The Sandhi Vigraha is Apapakashini, not Papakashini. Yeah. Tanura Ghora Apapakashini is the Sandhi Vicheda. But when we chant, it should be Samhita Patha. Samhita Patha means you have to connect the Sandhi together and chant. There you should not split the Sandhi while chanting. But while understanding, we have to split the Sandhi. So, this is a prayer for protection. O Lord, keep your protecting glance over us. Please look after our well-being. Even in terms of our well-being, Yogakshem. Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. Life insurance. LIC. So, what is Yogakshema? Yoga means apraptasya praptihi. Yoga. Getting what we don't have is yoga. And kshema means praptasya rakshanam. Protecting what we already have is kshema. A major part of our efforts go in the direction of Yogakshema. I have to get this and I have to save this. Yogakshema. Yogakshema keeps bothering us. Those who do not have a house, they want to build a house. I want to build a big house. And after building the house, how to maintain the house. So, building and maintenance. So, this bothers us. We can do our best for our yoga kshema. Everybody needs some amount of yoga kshema. The quantum may vary, but some amount of yoga kshema is needed for everyone. So we can do our effort. But despite our efforts, something may go wrong. Then who should take care of the Yogakshema? Even for Yogakshema, we need Ishvara's grace. We need the protecting eyes of the Ishvara. This is a beautiful prayer for the protecting eyes of the Ishvara, the protecting glance of Ishvara. When we leave something and go, for example, you have to go out for a few days on a trip. What do you tell your neighbors? Please look after. Please look after my house. Now you are asking Ishvara to look after. Because our efforts may fail, our efforts may be inadequate in some places. Then Ishvara has to look after. Therefore, Hey Rudra, O Rudra, Girishanta. Girishanta is another name for Rudra. Girau sthitva sham sukham tanoti iti Girishantaha. He stands on the mountain. He abides in the mountain. Giri, in a higher place. He is not affected because he is in a high position. Girau sthitva sham sukham tanoti. But he gives a sham. Sham means sukha. He bestows happiness on his devotees, on his bhaktas. Therefore, he is called Girishantaha. Yate Shiva Aghora Apapakashini Tanuhu. Your Tanuhu, your Swarupa, your form, the form of Shiva. It is Aghora. It is not Ghora. He can have both forms, Ghora and Aghora. In fact, this is a prayer for Aghora form. A pleasant form. Aghora means pleasant. Paramatma has both forms, Aghora and Ghora. Ghora means a terrible form. Rudra, we call it Rudra. It is Ghora. Then this is Aghora, a pleasant form. And when we meditate on such a pleasant form of Paramatma, it gives us punya. It removes papa and showers punya. Therefore, it is called apapakashini. Apapam kashate iti apapakashini. It brings apapa, freedom from papa as well as punya. Even meditating on the form of Paramatma, or even looking at the form of Paramatma. That is why we have darshan. You go all the way and have param darshana of a form, whether it is Amarnath or Rameshwara. When you see the form, even looking at the form is punya. That is why we say we should have darshana. Darshana itself removes papa and blesses with the punya. Therefore, apapakashini tanu taya shantamaya tanuva, with that form of yours, which is shantama, which is most blissful, the blissful form, the form that gives happiness. Naha abhichakashihi, please look after us. Look after our yogakshema, our welfare. This is a prayer to Aghora Rupa, whereas the following is a prayer to Ghora Rupa. We will see that in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.